Marvel Comics might have a thing for making Spider-Man's life miserable, but there are times when the bullpen decided to wise up and give Peter Parker a glimpse of happiness. And in this video, you're going to find out some of the best things that ever happened to Spider-Man. Now, let's come out of the gates running, or swinging, and tell you this right here. One of the best things to happen to the wall crawler, not to mention fans of his, happens within the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue 11. We're not talking about the Lee and Ditko joint either. This one's the Slott Coipel comic from 2014. Because for one, we finally get to see Spider-Man get some semblance of closure after what originally happened to Gwen Stacy. No, not that time she and Norman Osborn made babies. We're referring to Gwen's death at the hands of the same guy. Remember that this became an indelible mark in Spider-Man's superhero career, carrying the burden for, what, half a century? Well, in this particular comic, Spider-Man has a solid I got you moment with Ghost Spider, aka Spider-Gwen, who happens to be the main arachnid-themed hero of Earth-65. Peter finds out that this version of Gwen Stacy basically has the gender-bent version of what happened to him and his Gwen. In this case, Ghost Spider lost her Peter Parker, which further solidified her conviction to be a better superhero. And that's what makes this one of the absolute best moments in Spidey's entire history. Not only do us fans get another amazing character in the form of Spider-Gwen, but it gives Peter Parker someone who absolutely understands the same kind of pain that he felt when he lost his Gwen. Misery loves company, as they say, but they never tell you how much more bearable it also becomes when you have someone to lean on like Spider-Gwen. Now, from something sentimental, let's move on to one of the most triumphant moments you'd find in Spider-Man comics. We're talking about the time when Peter Parker finally came back from the dead to regain control of his superpowered body. You might be wondering how this all started, but all you need to know is that Dr. Octopus switched his and Pete's consciousness. Pete got trapped in Doc Ock's frail, dying body, while the supervillain became the new local wall crawler, calling himself the Superior Spider-Man. Now, we fans got to see this newer, deadlier version of the web slinger for about a year or so, and though it honestly wasn't a bad run, it was good. Even there's no replacing the OG. So when Dan Slott decided to bring back Peter Parker into the spotlight, we got this whole relatively convoluted storyline about his consciousness being revealed to still be alive inside Peter's body. You know, typical superhero comic book storytelling. That aside, the culmination of all this comes within the pages of the relaunched Amazing Spider-Man #1, and it's an absolute triumph that had us fans thwipping web fluid in delight, as we got to see Peter Parker back in the suit again. Now, remember when we mentioned that there's no replacing the OG? Yeah, because that statement doesn't just go for Peter Parker himself. Spider-Man is so iconic that even a simple costume change is cause for celebration. Enter Amazing Spider-Man issue 259. Now, at this point during the wall crawler's history, Spider-Man has been pretty hooked on his symbiote suit and all the rage and extra punching power it gives him. However, the aforementioned issue finally brought back the trademark web-lined blue and red tights that the friendly neighborhood webhead is known for, and it is amazing. For one, this wasn't just a simple costume change where Peter chose to opt for primary colors instead of bleak monotonal garb. This was a shift in tone for the character. This was Marvel pretty much saying that they're going back to Spider-Man's roots, portraying him as a flawed yet optimistic superhero than, well, a generic 90s mainstream comic book character who probably slaps preschoolers in the face for fun. Speaking of superheroes, this next one is an undeniable classic. So much so that you won't be hard-pressed to find this on fans' lists of the best Spider-Man moments in history. And with that, allow us to introduce you to a little sequence from the now legendary Amazing Spider-Man issue 33. In this particular moment, Spider-Man isn't even fighting a supervillain. He's simply fighting the laws of physics and gravity, as multi-ton rubble threatens to pin him to death. And in a handful of pages, we got to discover a lot about the wall crawler. For one, that he's not like Superman, and that just makes Spidey even better. Peter knows he has his limits. Hell, he knows that this could be the end for him. And yet, he works through the pain, all the while monologuing about what it means to truly overcome adversity. And with a single page turn, the comic book issue establishes itself as one of the best things to ever happen to Spider-Man. We won't talk too much about it, so just stare in awe at your screen while we show you this iconic, triumphant scene. Now, ask any random non-hardcore comic book fan, and you can bet that they'd answer you with 2 letters whenever you ask who Spider-Man's ride or die is. Those 2 words? MJ. Admittedly, what makes Spider-Man such an interesting and relatable character, at least by superhero comic book standards, is because of how, well, normal he is when he's out of the Spidey tights. He has money problems, he has school problems. Hell, he's even had pizza problems. But you know what's not a problem? Seeing Spider-Man finally tie the knot with the love of his life, Mary Jane. And when this happened, we all knew that the Spider-Man universe was going to be more interesting, as the character evolved from a high schooler to a full-fledged adult and all the problems that come with it. Now, if only JMS and Joe Q didn't do one more day. A man can always dream. Well, those are just a few of our favorites when it comes to the best things to happen to Spider-Man. What other heartwarming or fist-raising instances can you think of? We'd love to know about them in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to be the first to see other amazing Spidey videos and ring that notification bell while you're at it. We'll see you guys next time, only here at KRTV Marvel.